We have some big issues with the Miami and Miami Beach real estate market. And if you are a buyer in today's market and you are looking for property, you are probably seeing these issues. And if you are thinking about selling your property and you need to buy another property, you are probably also experiencing these issues. I'm going to talk about those and how to overcome them. Let's get started. Hey everyone, my name is Jamey Prezzi. I'm a real estate agent in Miami and Miami Beach, and today I'm going to talk to you about some big issues that I'm seeing in our local real estate market. But first, before I get started, if this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button so you never miss another update. I do put out new videos every week. Also, use the link in my information box and download our free guide today, and I'll add you to our weekly newsletter. Okay, let's get started. So if you are searching for real estate online, I am sure you are seeing these issues. If you are someone who needs to sell and then buy another property, I'm sure you are thinking about these issues. So today I want to talk to you about some issues that I'm seeing in our local real estate market and how to overcome them. We have a lot of people who are making some pretty big real estate decisions in today's market. When COVID started, it was a little bit scary here. We didn't know what was going to happen. Prior to COVID, we were already in a seller's market for most single-family home neighborhoods. Some were neutral, some were buyer's markets, but overall it was a pretty decent market for sellers. The condominium market was a buyer's market. Then COVID happened, everything paused, people got stuck in their houses and had some time to think about things, and COVID really accelerated a lot of people's plans to purchase real estate because we are seeing a huge boom in the real estate market here. That is creating a whole set of problems and issues that we need to overcome, and we have to prepare our buyers and sellers for when they are in the process. The good thing to know is moving here is amazing. We have beautiful weather most of the year. We have great tax advantages for living in Florida. Our real estate is beautiful. We have big, beautiful homes on the water, lots of space outside, pools. The buildings here are incredibly beautiful. The units inside those buildings are incredibly beautiful with amazing views, full service amenities. There's a lot of great real estate in our city and a lot of advantages of living in our city. And every day I have buyers who are reaching out to me from out of town and also our local buyers, and they are a bit confused. Typically people are a little bit confused because they don't understand our local market because it's very diverse in terms of the real estate opportunities, and also because the way sometimes our marketing information is provided, it can be just a bit confusing. So the first thing you need to know is Miami-Dade has 34 municipalities, and that includes 19 cities, 6 towns, and 9 villages. And when I have people contact me, sometimes they'll say, I want to live in Miami, but then they're actually talking about Miami Beach, or they want to be in South Beach and they're like, where is that in Miami Beach? And it's confusing because if you live here and you know, you can understand how that could be confusing to people. But if you're from out of town and you're searching for real estate, it can just be a little bit much. And then if you're following our general market reports, it's just important to know that we have 2 very big markets here. One is a single family home market and one is a condominium market. And they are both very different in terms of what they offer. And very often, a lot of the online market data will group that data together, and it can just be confusing to understand what you get for your money. Prior to COVID, some of the single family home markets were a little bit neutral. Some were still in a buyer's market, but overall, I would say generally speaking, we were in a pretty good seller's market, especially for those entry price points. The condo market was in a buyer's market. Once COVID started, we had a really big pause, and I think this gave people an opportunity to sort of think about what they wanted to do. I was already in talks with a lot of buyers who were interested in moving here, but they just weren't ready to make the decision yet. But once COVID started, it really created sort of a pause. And I think people really decided, you know, I'm just gonna go for it. Let's do it. Let's make this move. Let's get this done. We were already interested in moving to that area. Now this is going to give us an opportunity to do it now. So it really accelerated a lot of people's timelines Whether it was someone who was from out of town and they were thinking about moving here, it pushed them to go ahead and make the decision to move here, or a local who, they were thinking about if they were going to buy a house or not, or a condominium or not. Also, it's very important to remember the interest rates are very low, so that is a very attractive thing for many buyers, and that has also created an opportunity for many people to go ahead and buy right now. So originally I was talking about the big issues. So what are the big issues that we're seeing? Single family homes and low inventory. Since many people have decided to buy here, it has just created this demand for single family homes. So right now we're seeing in a lot of neighborhoods very low inventory. And because the inventory is very low, it creates a supply and demand factor, and that accelerates the pricing. Many people that are buying here from out of town live in more expensive cities. So the pricing here, although it may be more expensive for locals, feels a lot more affordable to other people moving here from more expensive states and cities. This unfortunately results in two things: low inventory, so a lot of bidding wars, and also unfortunately it tends to outprice some of the locals. The next issue I see is homeowners who want to sell, but they don't know where they're going to go. And the thing is they bought a property at a good time, and now is a great time to sell because there's a lot of demand in that market. And so they're like, all right, this is a good time to sell. Let's get the property on the market. But then they're like, well, where are we going to go? Because then we're going to find ourselves in a different market, also in bidding wars. Next, everyone wants to buy new. People really like those turnkey properties, but those turnkey properties tend to come at a premium. We just don't have a lot of those neighborhoods that have those new construction properties. Those types of properties can typically be found farther out west or into Broward and out west. Most of our neighborhoods here are established neighborhoods with older properties. So when you find a property that is new, if someone's completely rebuilt that property, or a property that is completely renovated, it will definitely come at a premium because people like new and they pay more for newer properties. And even though our condominium market is in a buyer's market, I often find that when buyers get very focused on a specific building with a specific line, and they're interested in a specific view with certain finishes, they can still find themselves in bidding wars, even though there's a lot of condo inventory on the market today. Typically, if it's a well-priced property, everybody else is also looking for that specific well-priced property with that line and that view. So it's really interesting that even though there is a buyer's market for the condominium market, you can still find yourself in a little bit of competition with other buyers for properties that are well priced. So how can we overcome these issues? Number one, the first most important thing to do is to get very laser focused on what you want to buy. So if you're buying here from out of town and you're not super familiar with the neighborhoods, I highly recommend that you come and drive through the neighborhoods and start looking at properties so you can get a feel of what you get for your money and you can get a feel for that neighborhood. Also, like I always say, it's very important to have a very strong pre-approval letter, because if you are buying a single family home in most neighborhoods here, you're going to find yourself in some competition with other buyers. So you need a pre-approval letter from a reputable lender and one who can be reached when they are called upon by the seller's agent to make sure you're qualified. Some sellers today are even requiring a full DU, and I can explain that. It's just a lot more advanced step of getting approved by a lender. And in addition to that, some sellers are also requiring proof of funds or pre-approval letters to even access the property and show the property, because they don't want a lot of people who are not qualified through their property with COVID going on. One thing that's very important is that you have to be laser focused on the neighborhood where you want to buy, because like I mentioned before, we have 34 municipalities throughout the city. So if you just call me and say, I want to buy a house in Miami-Dade, that's a huge area with a lot of real estate. So you have to be very laser focused in on what you expect out of that property. Maybe it's a certain lifestyle, maybe you want to be on the beach, maybe you need to be in a community where they're playing a lot of tennis next to tennis courts. Whatever it is, you need to be very laser focused in on the neighborhood where you want to buy. because when a property comes on the market, we need to get out to see that property immediately. You cannot wait until the weekend or next week. You have to get out there immediately, and if you like the property, you need to make an offer. This is not a time where you can just wait and wait. You can wait, but if you find a home that you really like, you have to be able to move fast. And if you are in the situation where you need to sell in order to buy, we really need to sit down and understand how to position that property in today's market to sell it so that you can properly buy on the other end. And we need to study both neighborhoods very deeply, where the property is that you need to sell and where the property is that you want to buy, so that we can set a correct timeline and expectations to make that transaction happen. Sometimes people are just not aware of the market where their property is located and the type of property and how long it may take to move that property. So it's very important before we list a property, and it's very important before you buy a property, that you understand the type of market that you're selling or buying in so that you can make the best decision for you. Every single real estate market always has its challenges. No matter if you're in a buyer's market or a seller's market, there's always something to fully understand. If you have more questions about buying real estate in Miami or Miami Beach, please feel free to always give us a call. We always want to be a resource for you, and I will see you soon.